Hello there, Chief
Hello.
Graves.
Thanks for coming.
How are you?
Fine. Glad you can make it.
Are you proud of this place or
We
what?
sure are. We sure are.
Oh my goodness. You know, we're going to try to give folks a little bit idea of if they watched it go up for a long time, and now we're giving them the first view before your official open house. And that will be when? April 24th, I believe?
Yes, it's a Monday, correct.
Okay, all right. So now I want everybody to see it ahead of time.
Okay.
Because you can't have 39,000 people in here all at once.
No, we can't.
Okay.
We can't.
All right, quickly, give us a little cliff notes all about the planning stage and, you know, how we were funded and the whole thing.
Sure. So this process has taken place part of the past 5 years. It's been a long process. I went to a couple different sort of workshops and sort of how to do this sort of thing, how to bring a project like this from scratch to completion. Mm-hmm. We went out and did a needs assessment with Height Jackson, which is the architect who eventually did the building, just to show us what we needed moving currently and moving into the future as a police department to support the city. So we looked 30 years into the future of what the needs would be in 30 years, and we sort of built for that. So it's a rather large facility. There's a lot here. So when people look at it and go, boy, that's kind of big for what you are now, we need to think that it's not for necessarily right now. It's for 30 years in the future, because we don't want to have to do this again. We don't want to have to do it again because building is expensive. There's a lot to do when you do that, and plus in Bella Vista, when we look at the usable land, there's not a lot of flat land, and so you don't have many chances to build a structure like this. And so then we went out and worked with some local groups. You were part of that as far as getting the message out to the public, as far as the need of the building, the need of some funding for the building. And then we went out and did a special bond election. That passed, actually passed pretty resoundingly, because most things nowadays, when you go out and try to get a vote for something, you get it by 51% maybe, you know, so it's a barely thing. And so it passed pretty resoundingly. And so we got the funding for the building, and then we spent about a year, probably about 2020 to 2021 or so, planning it, designing it with architects, and then we broke ground about 19 months ago, and then we've been building since then, and we actually opened to the public last week.
You know, I heard from the mayor the other day that the actual payoff of this bond is going to be way earlier than we anticipated.
It is.
So that's another great thing.
I think we originally anticipated 15 years, and we're way ahead of schedule on that, just because of the economy in Northwest Arkansas and how things have been going, and so we've been able to pay it down pretty rapidly.
Would you give the public a great tour of this building?
Sure.
I know you're proud of it.
Yeah, we sure will. So this building here, it houses the police department. It also houses our public safety dispatch, as well as our court system, and so it is a public safety complex, is what we call it. So let's go and we'll start over here, and over here is our court facility. So this will be the court facility for the Bella Vista District Court. As you can see, it's rather larger than our last court, the way it's set up. So not only do we have court here, we have our city council here on a monthly basis, and we also have the planning commission also meets here, and so this is sort of a multi-purpose room, but it's set up actually as a working court, where our last one really we went into a building that wasn't designed for that. So the way this is designed, it'll flow much better. People will go up, they'll speak with the judge. The judge will let them know what they need to do, whether it's pay a fine or whatever the case may be. They'll be able to exit through this door off the right, which we'll walk, when we leave this courtroom, we'll walk out of there, and then they'll walk down and meet at the counter with one of the court clerks, and they'll be able to do their paperwork there, and then the judge can continue and see the next person. So it'll be much more efficient as far as people are concerned and as far as the crowd's concerned. People will be able to exit, they'll be able to meet the court clerk here and pay their fines or whatever court paperwork they need to do. So the next thing we have in the facility is we have a training room, which allows not only my officers in the department to train, but we can also host training. And what that does for us is when you're an agency that's able to host training, which means we'll bring trainers in from around the country. They'll provide training to surrounding agencies, and then because we're the hosting agency, they'll provide our agency with slots at no cost to us. And so it's a way for us to get good training for our officers, to provide good training for the rest of the surrounding agencies. It's a rather large training room. It has a rather large capacity. Then the way the lobby was designed, we tried to be very efficient for the public. And so the public will enter the lobby, they'll be able to go to court if they need to. People will come here for training. Other agencies will be able to enter the training room. Also, they'll be able to come in if they need to go to police records. We have police records on one side. They'll be able to come up to the window, get police reports they may need or any other police business they may need. And then the other side of the lobby, we have the court records. People will be able to go and see the court clerk, talk about any upcoming trial dates they may have, any tickets they may have gotten, or any sort of business they have with the courts. And then up here a little further to the left, we have another office. This is the city attorney will be here. So now we're behind the secure area of the building. This is the area that's not open to the public. Okay, we have a long hallway that sort of joins each side of the building. The way we're looking right now is down to the public safety dispatch area. We'll walk down there, and I'll show you where that's at. We have some interview rooms where officers will bring in people they need to interview if they're involved in some sort of crime or if they're a witness of some type. We have a workout facility here. There's somebody cleaning the mirrors, and so just this section here. This here is our public safety dispatch. We're not going to go in there right now because they're working, they're taking calls, but this is basically if someone calls 911, this is where their call goes. And people need to remember, not only do they dispatch for police, but they dispatch for fire, for EMS, for also the streets department and other departments within the city. So they have a lot going on in there, and they do a lot for the city. So this was the move into the police department. We'll talk about that a little bit. So the move took place over about 3 weeks. We did it in phases. Okay, we moved our administrative folks here first, which is myself, CID, which is our detectives. They were on the top floor. The following week, then we took a week break to let IT catch up, our IT department catch up. And then the following week, we moved in patrol, we moved in evidence, and we moved in operations. And then the following week, we moved in dispatch. This was the most complicated piece of the puzzle, obviously, because dispatch is what makes really a police department operate. The final piece of the move was dispatch. Dispatch was the most complicated piece of the move. For obvious reasons, my officers can take calls for service anywhere in the city. They just need to get the call. They don't necessarily need to be at a certain location or building. Dispatch needs to be functional all the time. So what we had to do is we had to keep our old dispatch up and running while we moved the new dispatch consoles over here. So basically we had to have both buildings operating efficiently at the same time. And then we did what's called a cutover, which is where AT&T and Cox Cable and the different entities come in, and they basically cut things over to the new center. And that went fairly seamlessly, I have to say, with the hard work of our IT department. We were able to do that without missing a call, without missing any service to the city. And probably within about a 12-hour period, we had everything up and running here just about as normal. And so that went really, really well for us. And now we're just in the building. We're in the process, as far as our IT department is concerned, of just tweaking a few things and getting things working a little more efficiently. The general area where officers can come in when they're not in their vehicles, work on the computers, get some paperwork done. We have our sergeant's offices over to the right here. So they'll come in, they'll sit down, get some paperwork done. They could use computers here if they're not using the ones in their cars. right directly behind you there is the sergeant's offices, where they will each have a station and a desk. Is another part of evidence processing. So officers will come in here with some of their evidence they've already processed, they've packaged it. They will place it in these lockers here. These lockers open from this side. So they'll open up, they'll put their evidence in. This is a larger locker, so this might be a rifle or something long. They'll close the door, they'll push that button, and it locks. They can't open it again, nobody can open it. What happens to happen is the evidence technician who's inside the evidence section the next day, they'll be able to open it from their side, take the evidence out, store the evidence, and that maintains what's called a chain of custody on the evidence. Maintaining the chain. Everybody loves canines. Okay. This is our canine storage area. It's just basically a kennel. They don't stay in here normally. They're usually with their handlers. But because of the type of animals they are, they're working dogs. They're actually police property, and they can be dangerous. This gives us a place to put the canines when the handler may go on vacation with their family. They can't take care of the canine themselves. We'll have them bring them here. We'll kennel them here. The other handlers will take care of them at the time. That way it's safer for the canine, it's safer for the public. This is what's called a sally port. We got a little bit of furniture still moving, so it's not all cleaned up, but we have 2 bays here, okay? Basically, we pull our police vehicles in here. Usually this bay here is where we'll pull our car in if we have a prisoner, somebody in custody, then we'll be able to take him into the holding facility. The bay over here, the holding facility too it's still under construction. It's not totally done yet, so you're going to see a little bit of construction material. We're still working on that. The other bay, you see a gate in front of it there. That bay is meant mostly for evidence. And so if we have a car that is evidence, we can pull that car into that bay, we can lock it in, limit the access, maintain the chain of custody, then the detectives can work on the vehicle and process it as evidence, okay? We can go through here, we can go through the detention facility. Like I say, it's still sort of under construction, so you'll get the idea. There's still a few missing pieces as far as some of these big heavy steel doors, as far as some of the metal work they're doing. So it looks a little grungy, a little dirty, but we have 3 holding cells. This is not a prison, it's called a detention facility. So it's used to house people temporarily, usually only for a few hours, maintain their safety, the safety of the officers. We're able to bring someone in here, let's say we're processing a DWI, or they've been arrested, we could bring them in here, we could hold them here for a period of time while their family comes to pick them up. So this is not long-term housing, this is short-term. So one of the great features of this department, or the building that we built in, was a gun range, and I'm going to show you the gun range. So we don't have to go use another range outside. We could do it all inside during inclement weather. We got a little construction still taking place here. This is the gun cleaning room, and so they're still doing a little work here. Good, the lights are on. Come on in. So this is it. 50 yards. You can see the firing line here at 50 yards. And at the end there, we can walk to the end if you want, and I can show you what that is that we'll be shooting into, okay? Back when I first got into law enforcement, probably about over 30 years ago, we'd have ranges that had what was called, there were metal steel bullet traps. And while they worked, sometimes you had ricochet problems, and you could have some problems with them. They would basically catch the bullet and slow it down through a series of cylindrical turns. This here, all it is just think of tires from a car. These aren't actual tires because there's no steel belts in them, but it's basically rubber that's basically chewed up into small pieces. So it's a big pile of rubber. And it's just pieces of rubber. It's piled up high, it's piled up deep, okay? And what happens is officers fire, and over time, the bullets penetrate into the pile of rubber, and over time you have to clean or you mine the lead out of the rubber, and you know that's ready to be mined or it's ready to be cleaned. You'll start to see the lead migrate to the surface. And so initially when people shoot, you'll see nothing but this pile of chunked up rubber. After time, you'll start to see a little bit of lead on top of it. Then you'll know we need to clean it out. And then these here are combat walls. Okay, so these walls here, starting out at the 15-yard line, you can see are special. They're hard rubber, kind of like the rubber we're shooting into. They're hard rubber, and they're made so from the 15 yards up to the bullet trap, officers can work downrange and do almost 180-degree swivel as they're working targets. And they could actually shoot into this, okay, without doing any damage. Okay, these are made to where the bullet will penetrate the hard rubber. There's a steel plate behind it. It'll hit the steel plate, which will stop the bullet, and then the bullet can't ricochet back out because this is a really hard, thick 1-inch piece of rubber. Over time, if we shoot in the same spot too much, we'll have to replace this panel, but it's made to be able to replace like that. Okay, what's really unique about our building is we're able to put everything together. And what I mean by that, for a city of our size, we're not a small city, we're not a real large city, we're kind of in the middle. But when you're able to put your police department, your court system, your attorneys, your dispatch all in the same building, not only is it more efficient, it's just a better way to operate. Now, I don't have police officers driving to court across town. I don't have them in separate locations. They're all in the same spot. It's just a more efficient way to do it. So we're really lucky to be able to do that in this one building, plus get our shooting range inside the same facility. And it's pretty unique. You won't find many buildings that have everything contained in one area like that. The bond for this building was about $18.8 million. So, and that's what it cost. Now, the construction was about $16.5 million, and there was architectural fees and things in there. But overall, the bond was $18.8 million. So this is our detective suite, and so this is where the detectives from the department will work, so we can walk on through here. We built it for the future. Like everything in the building, there's several extra spots for detectives as we grow and we add more detectives.
Oh, we can't thank you enough, Chief.
Absolutely.
You are so accommodating, and I'm so proud of your new building.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody come down at the open house. Let's talk again. I think it's the 24th of April. Yeah. Well, not everybody, but a few of you. Probably all day long.
Well, it's going to be in the morning.
In the morning. Okay. And then eventually the statues and everything will be outside.
We're hoping to get that finished and get that put up maybe the following month.
Okay, good. So. All right.
Okay.
This is J.B. Portillo with Bella Vista Community Television signing off.